Hi everyone, this is Ivy, your host for the Canada Immigration Info channel. I like to always start my video by saying thank you to every single one of you who has subscribed to my videos, all of you who have liked, who have posted comments, those of you who have shared my videos on platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. I like to say thank you to every single one of you. Today is an exciting day. It's amazing, and I hope you're feeling amazing as I'm feeling. It's summer. Summer is really hot. Like today is 30 degrees. Trust me, I'm so excited because if you live in Canada, you would know that every dot of sunshine you should take advantage of. And so I'm very excited today, and I'm excited to be here again to present you with all the immigration information that you need. The topic I'm going to be talking about today, I've been asked by some of my subscribers to talk about this topic, and it's called the Provincial Nomination Program. All you need to know about the Provincial Nomination Program. Now, if you haven't watched my previous videos, I have posted the link to those videos in the description section of this video. So please feel free to go watch it because this is a step up from that. And so you might have to have watched the previous videos to understand what it is we're talking about. Like some of the terminologies I'll be using in this video, you already might have had to understand it in the previous videos I have done. So if you haven't watched it, please find some time to watch it. Now, I'm going to be talking about just an overview for those of you who haven't watched it. I'm going to explain to you what the express entry system is. The express entry system is a tool that is used by the Canadian government in order to run the three different immigration programs that it has. And so that online system is where you create your profile if you want to immigrate to Canada through any of those programs you qualify for, and then you submit that application electronically online, and it goes to the visa office where they process your information. When I did my application for permanent residence to Canada, I did it myself from start to finish. I did not come through any agent. I did everything through diligent research, through hard work, and through focus, and through reading. This process is about reading and research. Some people have reached out to me to ask me if I'm an agent that can help in the process, but it's something you can do on your own, because when you do your own work yourself, then you're careful, and you don't want to make any mistake. You're careful than if you hand it to someone else who is not that careful, and then some informations are filled in for you that might cause issues for you down the line with the immigration authorities here in Canada. And so it's always good for you to do it yourself, but you must be ready to do the research, and you must be dedicated and committed. And that is why I started this channel, in order to give you this information that you need. It saves you some time from reading. I had to read from start to finish, but now I've gone through the experience. I'm here in Canada by God's grace, and I'm here to share that information freely with you. All of the information I'll be sharing in this video are all information that are readily available to you on the Canadian government website. You can read those informations there, and I've brought it to you here to explain it to you, because some people like it explained. It's easier when it's explained, and so that's why I'm explaining it to you. So welcome again to my videos. Now, that was an overview of what the express entry system is. So it's an online system created by the government of Canada in order to manage the three different immigration programs that is run by the Canadian government. Those three immigration programs are: one, the Federal Skilled Workers Program that targets skilled workers from different countries around the world. Two, we have the Federal Trade Workers Program. That program basically targets technical workers, so semi-skilled workers. And the third program is the Canada Experience Class Program. That program targets people who have come to Canada and have worked for some time. Mostly people who come as international students to Canada and have acquired some years of experience, at least 1 or 2 years of experience here in Canada, are able to apply for the Canada Experience Class Immigration Program. So these are the three programs that are run through the Express Entry System. Now, what is the Provincial Nomination Program? The Provincial Nomination Program is a program that is run by the different provinces in Canada. It's an immigration program, but it's run out of the Federal Express Entry System. which I explained to you initially. So the Federal Express Entry System is the umbrella body under which each province have their individual requirements through which you can obtain additional points to boost the points that you already have in the Federal Express Entry System. So if you get a nomination certificate from a province or territory, that gives you 600 points to add to whatever points you had already gotten in the Federal Express Entry System. Now, the Federal Express Entry System is point-based. And so different factors are used to give you points. Factors like age, education, work experience, adaptability factors, language, all those factors are used to give you points. Depending on how many certificates or degrees you have, you get more points. The lower your age, so between the age of 18 and 35, you have the highest points in the point-based system under the Federal Express Entry system. And so all of these points you've accumulated, on average, most people that go through that process that I know have a point of about 450 or 460. And so you have 450 or 460 and you're cooling off in the pool, the Federal Express Entry pool, awaiting the next round of invitation and hoping that the cutoff score that will be advertised or the cutoff score that will be put out would be lower than what you currently have in the Express Entry system. And so say, for example, you currently sit in the Federal Express Entry system with a point of 460. And then a round of invitation is done and the cutoff score is 450. You automatically qualify to be invited to apply for permanent residence in Canada. And so once you're invited to apply for permanent residence in Canada, then you prepare all of your documents and submit your final application for permanent residence of Canada. If it's approved, you're issued your permanent residence visa. That's the process from start to finish. But of course, there are intricacies in every step of the way you go. And so if you already have 460 in the Federal Express Entry system and the cutoff score probably for the last 6 months has been 480, you wouldn't get called because your points in the Federal Express Entry system is lower than the points that you have, that the cutoff score of those that were invited to apply for permanent residence. And so you might sit there for like 6 months, 8 months. And keep in mind that your Express Entry profile has a timeline of 1 year. After 1 year, it expires and you have to create a new Express Entry profile. And so if you've been sitting there for 6 months, 8 months, and your score, your points has not met the cutoff score that has been issued in the previous rounds of invitation for the last like 6 to 8 months, you need to do something about it to boost your score. And one of the things you can do is to get nomination from a province. So that's where the Provincial Nomination Program comes into play. If you have a nomination certificate from a province, you get 600 points on top of your 460 points you already have, which gives you a total of 1,060 points. At that point, you don't have competition anymore because the next round of invitation that will be issued, the cutoff score might be 470 or 480 as usual. Your points previously was 460, but because now you have the nomination certificate, which gave you 600 points, you are now sitting comfortably at 1,060 points. And so once that round of invitation was issued at 480, you automatically qualify and you're invited to apply for permanent residence. So the process is intertwined. The Federal Skilled Worker System, the Federal Express Entry System is what you need to get the end goal, which is your permanent resident visa. The Provincial Nomination Program is one of the tools that you can make use of to boost your points in the Federal Express Entry System in order to increase your chances of getting invitation to apply for permanent residence. I hope I've done my best to explain to you because I know sometimes it can get a little confusing, but that's just all you need to know. And so there's 2 ways that you can begin the Provincial Nomination Program. Like I said at the beginning, Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. Each of these provinces have their own requirements to apply for their provincial nomination program. At the description section of this video, I'm going to post the link to the Government of Canada website where you can go and view each province requirement and see which one you qualify for. And so different provinces target different classes of people. Some target students, some target skilled workers, some target business people, some target semi-skilled workers. It depends on which one they are targeting. And some target all of these classes, but at different times. And so you always have to keep tab of what the requirement of that province is at a particular time when you want to submit an application to the province requesting for consideration to give you a nomination certificate. Now, there are two ways that you can apply to the provincial nomination program depending on the province. There are two ways that you can apply for that. The first way is that you can fill out an expression of interest on the website of that particular province. So, for example, the province of Manitoba has that option of you filling out an expression of interest on their website. All of the documents that you submitted to, or that you are required to submit to create your federal express entry profile is also required in most provincial nomination programs. And so the example I'm giving you now of the Manitoba province, if you submit an expression of interest, you would also still have to submit language test results, scores. You also have to submit educational credential assessment, just all of those things that you are also still going to submit when you create your federal express entry profile. Once you submit an expression of interest in Manitoba, you are also put in a pool in their province. And then from the pool, depending on your points, because they allocate you points also, depending on your points, you are issued a letter of advice advising you to submit your final application to apply for their provincial nomination program. If your application goes through, then you're issued a nomination certificate. Once you're issued a nomination certificate, you take that certificate to your federal express entry profile. So you're not required to have an express entry profile for the Manitoba province to submit an expression of interest. You might either have or you might not have. It's not compulsory. But once you're issued that nomination certificate, if you don't have a federal express entry profile, you have to create one. And then you check the box that says, yes, I have a nomination certificate from a province. If you previously had an express entry profile, all you need to do is go and update it and check the box that says, yes, I have a nomination certificate, and automatically, whoop, you get 600 points. And so that's one way that you can apply for the provincial nomination program. For some provinces, you have to approach them and submit an expression of interest to say, I'm interested in coming to reside in your province. The second way that you can apply for provincial nomination program is to first of all create a federal express entry profile. And then once you've created it, some provinces look into the federal express entry pool of candidates to see which of those candidates' skill set they need at the strategic initiative level of their province that would boost their economic development at that point in time. And then they send those candidates a notification of interest saying, we are interested in you to come reside in our province because of your skill set, because of your education, okay, because of your work experience. They reach out to you. So that's the second way that the provincial nomination program can work. You don't need to do anything to reach out to a particular province. You just create your federal express entry profile, and then the provinces do all the work. I have a friend that happened to. She created her express entry profile, and then the province of Ontario sent her a notification of interest saying, we reviewed your skill set, we reviewed your work experience, and we think you'll be a right fit for our province at this time. But the trick now is, when you are applying for a provincial nomination program, depending on the province, there are fees associated with those provinces. So for example, if you want to submit your application to Manitoba province, you're required to submit an application fee of 500 Canadian dollars. If you want to submit your application for the Provincial Nomination Program in Ontario province, you have to submit 1,500 Canadian dollars or 2,000 Canadian dollars. So it depends on the province. Different provinces have their different application fees. And so what did my friend do? She just weighed both options. She was already sitting in the Federal Express Entry system, and her point was enough for her to hope to be called, to be issued an invitation to apply for permanent residence in the next round of invitation. And so she declined the notification of interest from the province of Ontario because her point was already enough to be invited to apply for permanent residence. And so it depends on your situation. Depending on your situation, you might not need the Provincial Nomination Program. Most people that I know that go through the Provincial Nomination Program go there as a result of age. So the older you get, the lesser your points. I said in the beginning, between the age of 18 and 35, you have the highest points. Any age outside this range, your points begin to decline. And so once your points begin to decline, it impacts your score significantly sometimes. And also the number of educational credentials that you have also impact your scores. Your language test result impacts your scores. So if you don't have enough educational credentials, or you don't get the expected language scores that would have given you a good point, you can opt to go for the Provincial Nomination Program, where you get 600 points that will boost the already existing points you have in the Federal Express Entry system. And so this is how it works. This is the two ways. You either reach out to the province directly, depending on the province directive. If that's the way they do it, you reach out to them. Or you create your Federal Express Entry profile and you sit and wait to see if you'll get picked out by those provinces. When you create your Federal Express Entry profile, you will have the option of selecting the provinces that you are interested in. So at that point in time, you can check those provinces that you are interested in. So that once they look at it on their end, because the systems are intertwined, once they look at it on their end, they can say, oh, this candidate has already indicated interest in my province, and so it might be a good fit or a good addition to the province. That is how it works. Now, some people have reached out to me to ask me about the Provincial Nomination Program, and one of the very frequent questions that I received was, am I required to stay in the province that issued me a nomination certificate once I arrive Canada? The answer to that question is yes. You are required to stay in the province that invited you to come into Canada. It's something that you're supposed to do. It's just dignity, and it just shows that you're committed. Because the reason you were picked was because they needed your skill set to fit into their economic development at that time. And so if you just up and back up and leave when you just came into the province, you're not staying, you're not, it's almost not fair you doing that, So you should be very sure that this is a province where I want to stay, where I want to raise my kids in the long term, okay, where I want to work, that will satisfy my economic needs. You should do your investigation before you arrive in those provinces. But if for some reason you decide that this province is not working for me when I came, this province is not working for my kids and I need to leave, or for some reason this province is not giving me the type of employment that I thought I was going to have, then you must have had to stay 760 days with your PR card, which is a little above 2 years in that province that nominated you. Before you can move to a different province, you have to have stayed for a minimum of just over 2 years, 760 days, before you decide to move to a different province. Some provinces are really very strict on making sure that you stay in the province, because they were the ones who nominated you, and most likely were the reason you were able to make it anyway into Canada. And so they expect that you stay committed to the province. But in the end, it's your choice. So 760 days. I read about a survey that was carried out by IRCC. IRCC is the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. That is the body that is in charge of regulating the process of immigration in Canada. They issued a report on the evaluation of Provincial Nomination Program, and that report, one of the aspects of that report was on the retention rates of provincial nominees in that province. The report was drafted between the survey was carried out between the period of 2002 to 2014, and what that showed was that a lot of provincial nominees, so a lot of immigrants that come through the provincial nomination program, actually stay in those provinces for a very long time, like permanently, when they come into those provinces. They mentioned 5 provinces on that survey map. Out of the 10 provinces and 3 territories in Canada, 5 provinces ranked with the highest retention rates of immigrants in those provinces. And those provinces are Alberta, Ontario, British Columbia, Manitoba, and Saskatoon. So it's your choice. Do your investigation before you decide that you want to come into a particular province, or if you want to go through the provincial nomination program, because you are required to stay in that province. Now I'm going to be telling you the differences between the provincial nomination programs. I'm going to be doing videos that would focus on all the different provincial nomination programs depending on the province of choice. So a separate video for Ontario province, a separate video for British Columbia, Alberta province, and so on and so forth. Just because the processes are different, their requirements are also different. And so it'll be good information for you to know, to be able to evaluate which of those provinces you would want to reside. But very quickly, I'm just going to give you an overview of the differences in the requirements to be able to apply for the provincial nomination programs to get additional 600 points from these provinces. First off, the province of Alberta requires you to have valid work permits to be able to apply for the provincial nomination program in that province. And the work permit is based on having a positive labor market impact assessment report. A labor market impact assessment report is a report that is gotten by an employer that is looking to employ a foreign worker. And that report is states that the organization or the company performed their research and found that the skill set that they are looking for to join that company cannot be found in their province where they work. They cannot find that skill set. They cannot find that candidate that would fit that job, and that's why they had to reach out to a foreign worker to employ that worker. That is the meaning of a labor impact assessment report. And so you will have to have that labor market impact assessment report to be able to get a valid work permit from the federal government. The work permit comes from the federal government, not the provinces. So you have to get you have to have a valid work permit to be able to work in the province, to be able to apply for the provincial nomination program in Alberta. Another of the province is British Columbia. So in British Columbia, you need to have a valid job offer from a British Columbia employer with at least 2 years of related work experience in the field in which you're coming in. So you see the varying differences between these provincial nomination programs, and that is why you would really have to evaluate which one you qualify for. Another of the provinces I'll be talking about is Manitoba. I said it in the beginning when I was trying to explain the 2 ways you can apply for the provincial nomination program. In Manitoba, you need to submit an expression of interest. Once you submit an expression of interest, you're put in a pool. And depending on your points, you're invited to submit your final application. You receive a letter of advice from the province. Once you submit your final application, it's evaluated. If you meet all the requirements, you're given your nomination certificate. That's how it works. But the Manitoba province, and it's not unique to Manitoba province, almost all of the provinces have different streams through which you can apply to immigrate to that province. So some of them have the skilled stream, some have the business stream, some have the international student stream, some have the graduate stream. You know, they have different streams that you can, some are more than the others. And so depending, you have to go through each of these programs to see which one you qualify for and that you can apply through. Another of the provinces I will be talking about is New Brunswick. Now, New Brunswick also has different streams, but I'll be talking about the express entry stream in New Brunswick province. In order for you to apply for the Provincial Nomination Program in New Brunswick, you have to currently have a valid work permit. But having a valid work permit is not enough in New Brunswick. You have to currently be living in New Brunswick, and you also have to have a job in New Brunswick. So as part of the application process, you would have to submit your employment letter. So you have to be currently residing and currently working in New Brunswick to be able to apply for the Provincial Nomination Program. In Ontario province, it's a little bit different because you don't need to submit your application to the province. The province reaches out to you with a notification of interest to your account. You get a message in your Federal Express Entry System account. And then once you see that message, it says, it's a notification of interest saying we're interested in you coming into our province. If you're interested, you can proceed with this application. If you're not interested, you can decline this notification of interest. And so it's your choice. That's how Ontario has a lot of streams through which you can come. They also have the trade stream. They have the stream for businesses. They have the stream for skilled workers also. They have different streams that you can apply through. Now, another one that, the last one I'll be talking about is the Northwest Territories. The Northwest Territories have their own requirements too. They have two streams through which you can come. You can come either as a skilled worker or a business person. If you're coming as a skilled worker, you have to already have had a valid work permit. I explained what a valid work permit is. If you want to come through the business stream, you must be coming to invest into the province. So you're coming to purchase a business, or you're coming to buy up stock or something. You must be coming to invest in the business. So these are the differences between, so these are just a few of the provinces I have mentioned, and you see how differing their requirements are. Once I do my separate videos, you can pick which of the province you're interested in and you want to review, or you can also read, click on the link in the description window to read, to see the requirements of each province. Now I'm going to be ending my video by just leaving a suggestion. I don't like to call it an advice, it's just a suggestion I'm going to be leaving. I like to suggest that before you create your express entry profile or reach out to a province to express your interest to settle in their province, you might want to already get the required documents that you need for the permanent resident process. And the very two major documents you will need before you create an express entry profile or before you express your interest in any province is your language test results and your educational credential assessment. These documents take time to get. And so you might want to start the process of getting it before you create an express entry profile, because remember, your express entry profile has just a lifespan of 1 year. And most provinces, the nomination certificate that you're issued has a lifespan of 6 months. And so you have to have made use of that nomination certificate to apply to receive your permanent residence visa through your federal express entry system within a period of 6 months. After 6 months, it expires. So you have to get your timing right. Like I always say, the earlier, the better. Start now. Don't procrastinate. The older you get, the lower your score. So start now. Make up your mind. Where do you want to be? And also, when you want to make decisions, I always like to suggest that you prayerfully make decisions. You know, because we are humans. We just want to make decisions that we think are right for us, but in fact, they're not right for us. So prayerfully make your decisions to see if it's the right step for you to make at this point in time in your life. Be kind, be good, show love to somebody today. Give somebody a smile. A smile is worth more than 1,000 words. Just give that person a smile and you see it's a ripple effect around the world. Show love to people. Be good, be kind, stay safe. Take care. Till my next video. Bye.